I spotted a diamond necklace on Julian's checkout screen. A sweet little rush of happiness flooded me. It was the exact one that had languished in my online cart for half a year while my finger hovered, never quite brave enough to click buy. Then I attended his childhood friend's birthday gala. Briar fingered the dazzling rose-cut diamond necklace at her throat and chirped. Julian insisted on giving it to me. Sis, what he got you must be even prettier, right? I stared at the diamond-paved strand until my eyes stung, then curved my lips in a laugh aimed squarely at myself. Briar didn't miss the hurt flashing across my face. She covered her mouth in mock sympathy. Sarah, don't tell me Julian forgot your gift? I heard your anniversary's coming up. With that, she gave Julian a playful swat on the arm. Seriously, when you're dating someone, your girlfriend comes first. Go home and fix this for Sarah, okay? Julian glanced at me, silent, and his brows pinched, as though I'd inconvenienced him. Then he looked down and ruffled the top of Briar's hair. Today you're the star, the only one who matters. Your sister-in-law isn't a kid like you, she doesn't fuss over these things. But I do fuss. That necklace, sitting in my cart for 6 long months, was the thing I coveted most. A 6-figure price tag kept me in permanent hesitation. When I'd glimpsed it on Julian's phone, I'd thought it was meant for our anniversary. Turns out I overestimated my own importance. Only Briar can make him care that much. After a while, Julian's voice pulled me back. I lifted my gaze. Sarah, it's Briar's birthday. If you're not feeling well, I'll have the Rolls-Royce take you home. Rough translation, I was spoiling the fun. I nodded. Happy birthday, Briar. I'll head out. The instant the words left my mouth, Julian's expression darkened further. Of course, normally I glued myself to him, treasuring every shared minute. This time I was walking away first. Nobody would believe it. He opened his mouth, but Briar waved me off. Don't worry, Sarah, I'll take good care of Julian. I pulled a cold smile, turned, and left the ballroom. Julian was born into a blue-blooded family, pampered from day one, hailed as a prodigy before he could spell trust fund. His chilly, flawless face draws people like gravity. I was no exception. The first time I saw him I thought, so people this gorgeous actually exist. Like some actor who'd stepped straight off a screen. A scholarship girl from Maple, I was instantly, ridiculously smitten, awed by his restraint and that untouchable frost. Every encounter left an itch in my chest. I charged ahead in pursuit, clueless about the altitude difference. Countless girls were doing the same, I barely registered. No one took me seriously. I kept orbiting him for a full year until he finally remembered me. Because of my part-time gigs, I'd stopped engineering chance meetings. Half a month later I showed up carrying a drink. To my shock he accepted it and asked, "You've been busy lately?" My face flamed red, bright as a sunset cloud. Oh, yeah, my side jobs are slammed, but the next stretch should ease up. To my amazement he actually smiled at my rambling answer. I'd rarely seen it, his smile could reset your heartbeat. Against all odds, the fairy tale materialized, Julian became my boyfriend. But dreams stay dreams. We aren't carved from the same social marble, forcing the pieces only cracks them. After graduation he strolled into Sterling for his corporate apprenticeship while I trudged to a cubicle farm with 0 grand ambitions. His friends nicknamed me Doormat. In their universe Briar is the rightful princess, I'm a small-town grind who ought to be grateful for a few borrowed years beside Julian. I used to agree, being with him was all I'd wished for. Once I possessed it, I discovered, it tasted ordinary. Always sprinting to catch up, I looked pathetic. Back home, I barely had time to think about him. I showered, then binge-watched 2 episodes of trashy drama. My phone stayed dark. Our chats usually run 10 blue bubbles from me to 1 gray reply from him. After I'd walked out tonight, he was probably fuming, waiting for me to grovel. I was exhausted just imagining it. My head hit the pillow and I was out. The next morning the doorbell yanked me awake. I opened the door groggy-eyed, courier, signature required. I hadn't ordered anything. I signed, tore the box open, and found the Cartier logo winking up at me, the same one haunting my cart. No mystery who sent it, today was our dating anniversary. Remembering the icy fire of Briar's necklace, I felt a dull throb under my ribs. Inside lay a velvet jewelry box, flipping it open revealed a pair of stud earrings. The matching set to Briar's necklace. I snapped the lid shut. My phone buzzed twice. Did the gift arrive? You shouldn't be jealous of Briar, she's the birthday girl. Julian considered those two lines generous benevolence. Apologies aren't in his skill set, so this was his version of a peace offering. I snapped a photo of the earrings, listed them on Poshmark at half price, and left his messages on read. It was my day off, so I ordered takeout for myself. When I was with Julian, he would never touch junk food like this. Once upon a time I'd tried to get closer to him, so I tried to pick up all the same habits. Today I deliberately ordered a pile of the things I actually like to eat. I was demolishing a piece of fried chicken when the lock clicked. Grease on my fingers, I glanced up. Julian. His brows pulled together on reflex. Sarah, you're eating this stuff? Seeing him steal my appetite, I set the chicken down and gave him a cold look. What's wrong with it? He caught the edge in my voice and softened his tone. I'll order something for you, throw that out. He frowned as if the drumstick in my hand were poison. I used to think that meant he cared, really he just believes food like this is beneath him. I tore another bite off the bone and held my hand out. Give me my house key back. We'd never lived together, this is the tiny place I rent in Eastbridge, nothing like his penthouse, but I'd given him a key so he could come over any time. He'd used it maybe twice. The request made his expression flicker. He'd expected me to toss the junk food, play nice, and let the ice break. Seeing the confusion on his face, I repeated myself, patient this time. Julian, give me the house key. In all the years we dated I'd almost never spoken to him in such a flat, hard voice. His face went pale then flushed, it almost looked good. But he's always been the one everyone chases, so my slapping down his authority stung. He placed the key on the table. If you don't like the gift I can swap it. But Sarah, once or twice is fine, if you keep this up it gets old. I stared at him a long moment, he wore the look of a man who thinks he sees everything. When I said nothing, he decided it was still about Briar, smiled at me, and walked out, leaving me alone in the apartment. I'd played out that scene plenty of times, always Julian striding off first, me needing to chase him and make peace. I pocketed the key he'd left, opened another takeout box, and kept eating with pure satisfaction. After Julian left that day, my life felt unchanged. I still went to work, came home, and either ordered takeout or quietly cooked for myself. That rhythm gave me the kind of security I'd never known. Before, even when he wasn't beside me, my mind revolved around him, how to text so he might grace me with 2 replies. Textbook doormat behavior. Right after dinner a message pinged on Poshmark, the buyer wanted to meet locally. I agreed. She sent a cafe address, it was still early, so I pocketed the velvet jewelry box and went. I was dressed for comfort, but sitting in Riverdale I spotted a familiar face, Briar. She was every inch the little princess, perfect dress, full face of makeup, making my sweatshirt look even sloppier. I didn't care, punching a clock all day is exhausting. She waved at me. Sarah, is that you? I patted the box in my pocket and smiled. You're the one who messaged me? Briar covered her mouth theatrically. Sarah, didn't Julian give you an allowance? Selling jewelry? I'll lecture him for you. As usual, she slipped in the reminder of how tight she and Julian are. These studs were a gift Julian and I picked out together. Even if you hate them you can't resell, they're limited, and they match my necklace. She lifted her hair to show the matching diamond necklace. I opened the box and set the unused studs in front of her. Never worn. If they look okay to you, just tap confirm receipt. When I stayed blank, Briar shrugged and put them on. Lucky you ran into me, Sarah. Since you're so strapped for cash, consider these bought and worn. Her tone carried that proud little spark of challenge. I envied the energy of someone who doesn't have to clock in. They look beautiful on you. She blinked, startled. What did you say? I repeated, you really look gorgeous in that set. A blush crept into her cheeks. I know I do. But you've wasted Julian's sincerity, he won't forgive you. Why would I need his forgiveness? I sipped the juice she'd ordered for me, not bad. Thinking she'd scored, she stood and smoothed her skirt. Sarah, you and Julian aren't right for each other. The right zip code matters more. I nodded in total agreement. That seemed to satisfy her, then again, not quite. She flounced toward the door, purse swinging. I called after her. She turned back wearing an I knew it smirk. I pointed at her phone. Confirm receipt before you leave. She stared at me as if I were some exotic creature, tapped twice on her phone, and I saw the money land in my account. I gave her my brightest smile. Thanks. Rich people really do tip like royalty. Julian's gift, even at half price, could cover a year of my salary. I stashed the money away, every last dollar. For the next few days, I toiled at my desk with the energy of an overcaffeinated workhorse. Half a month passed without a word from Julian, but he showed up the second I clocked out. He had almost never picked me up after work. In the past, I used to daydream, he'd be waiting at the curb, and just picturing that bliss made my heart almost explode. Now, seeing him, all I felt was a full-body cringe. He motioned for me to get in. To keep any coworkers from spotting us, I yanked the door open and jumped inside in one motion. Why are you here? I was genuinely curious, so I asked. Julian's expression twisted again, he ignored the question and said, You sold the stud earrings I gave you. A statement, not a question. Which meant he already knew I'd offloaded them to Briar. I nodded, then asked warily, You want them back? He stayed silent, the speedometer climbing. My heart started pounding. Julian, can you slow down, please? Only when I begged did he ease off the gas. So the reason you vanished these past weeks, it's Briar, it's those studs? There was a sliver of anger and bewilderment in his tone. He simply couldn't compute how his doormat had suddenly gone dark and hawked the earrings. It was our anniversary gift. You don't want it anymore? At the red light, he pulled the box out again. The same pair of studs. My first thought, if he pushes them on me, I can flip them a second time. Julian tossed the box into my lap. Sarah, understand this, if we marry someday, you'll have to deal with these people. Learn to control your emotions. I almost laughed, their whole stratum lives like this. Except I'm not sticking around, so why would I bother learning? He parked under my apartment block. Once the engine died, he delivered his verdict, Sarah, enough with the tantrums. I have a conference call. I'll come back tonight. He spoke like someone who'd just soothed a sulking child, waiting for me to hop out. I sat there, unmoving, and said, Julian, you know I like you, right? The sudden confession made color flood his cheeks. It was love at first sight, call it face value attraction or whatever, I own it. I looked straight into his eyes. But you disappointed me. The boyfriend I imagined and the real you? Worlds apart. You treat me terribly, Julian. You weaponized my feelings, kept me dangling, anxious, half crazy. That version of me is toxic. So, one last time, loud and clear, Julian, we're breaking up. I didn't rattle off every petty grievance, specifics just give him room to negotiate. Plain truth, he isn't the flawless prince I built him up to be, and he did shatter my heart. When I finished, Julian looked stunned, he'd come to fix things and got dumped instead. Watching his shock was, I admit, satisfying. Still, falling for him had been my choice, I had no one else to blame. Let's go our separate ways. Please don't contact me again. I reached for the handle, the door wouldn't budge. I glanced at Julian, bewildered. His eyes were rimmed red, hands quick, he'd hit the child lock. Our eyes locked, His face was a wrecked map, like a betrayed husband, heartbreakingly handsome. Sarah, you're dumping me? His fragility kept me from snapping. I soothed him instead. Breakups are normal, Julian. He laughed, a cracked sound. You promised you'd never leave when you chased me. So that vow meant nothing? Tell me what's wrong and I'll fix it. But you don't get to end us, understood? I didn't understand. He'd never minded his friends' slurs, never curbed his devotion to little Briar, never cared about my moods, ignored every ounce of concern I showered on him. Yet the moment I file for emotional bankruptcy, suddenly it matters? I'm no fool, I remember every slight. 2 sentences from him won't erase them. Julian fell quiet, muttering over and over, I'll change. In the end, I got out. Bargaining chip, leave the contact untouched, and I'll step out peacefully. The second my shoes hit the curb, I deleted him. I'd kept my word inside the car, after all. Julian's apology arrived out of nowhere. A proud man, he'd spent these days burying me in gifts. Not just the full diamond necklace set, but bouquets of every kind. The penthouse and the office always smelled like a florist's cooler. I'd never been courted before, so the perfume put me in a good mood. Who doesn't like the scent of fresh flowers? Even if they came from an ex, no one had to know. He still hadn't shown his face, and I figured even he didn't know what he wanted. Luckily, the gap between Julian and me had kept me from losing myself. My life hadn't been shaken at all. I ate whatever I craved, met friends for shopping sprees, and stocked up on makeup I'd always wanted. Happy days like these were what I deserved. I was streaming a movie at home when an unknown number lit up my phone. Chase, Julian's best Briar. His voice carried an order. Sarah, Julian's trashed and feeling like hell. Come haul him home. Before I could answer, he kept going. The rest of us Briars used to look down on you, but seeing him this wrecked makes it clear how much you matter. Just come. From now on we won't say a word against you. A few sentences that sounded like a royal pardon, as if they could stitch Julian and me back together. As if. I hung up straight away and ignored the plea. Drunk out of his mind, Julian kept asking Chase, Sarah, did she say she'd come for me? Although the call had dropped, Chase was smug. He chuckled, relax, man. When has Sarah ever not chased after you? You don't need to stress. Julian's stomach nodded. He knew Chase was right, but the day Sarah broke up with him in the car had genuinely terrified him. Over these little things, the girl who loved him had actually walked away. That moment outweighed every board meeting on his calendar and every memory he shared with his childhood friends. No one in their circle mattered more than Sarah. He'd assumed she was throwing a tantrum, yet the instant she stepped out of the car she blocked him. His mind was a mess. Remembering the anniversary gift that had sparked the fight, he ordered another whole collection for Sarah. He rarely gave her presents. Briar had warned him that Sarah wasn't from the right zip code, so lavish gifts would only burden her. He never expected a single necklace to make her leave for good. Hopeful, Julian waited until the end, but Sarah never appeared, and every time Chase dialed her number it rang busy. Chase's face darkened. Julian just kept refilling his glass, no one could stop him. The next time I saw Briar, she was downstairs at Sterling. The haughty mask was gone, anxiety clung to her like static. She rushed over, caught my hand, and dragged me to her car. Sarah, what did you do to Julian? This time she didn't even tack on a polite cousin. She was furious. I shook my head. What are you talking about? Briar shoved me into the passenger seat, slammed her door, and started the engine. It's all because of you. Julian's in the hospital, did you know? Of course I didn't. So I punched him into a hospital bed? She stared like I'd sprouted a second head. Of course not. He drank himself there, alcohol poisoning. He's admitted and on N4. I shot back, and that concerns me how? Briar had no comeback. She locked the doors. I don't care. He drank because of you, so you're going to tell him off. Make him stop pining. I couldn't decide if she was naive or just adorably delusional. Did she really think a few sentences from me would snap Julian out of it? I didn't bother arguing. The princess always bulldozed until she got her way. I followed her to his private suite, but she hovered in the corridor, shoving me inside. Go on. Tell him to break up with you. When I stepped in, Julian's sick glazed eyes flared bright. He struggled upright, reaching for my hand. I simply pulled a chair away from the bed and sat, ignoring his grasp. The spark in his gaze dimmed again. Sarah, thank you for coming. I was wrong. I don't want to break up. Can you forgive me? First, Julian actually apologizing. I looked at him. Julian, I thought I'd made myself clear. What you did to me, I accepted it. Ending us was my choice, just like loving you was. I need you to respect that. By now I figured he'd understand. Yet it was as if my words bounced off glass. He levered himself up and caught my hand. Sarah, I know I messed up, I overlooked you, I hurt you. But you promised you'd never leave, that you'd always love me. I had promised, heartfelt and sincere back then. People change. Julian, you also promised you'd never miss my birthday, never skip our anniversary, yet you abandoned me again and again. My love for you has been ground down to nothing. Thinking of the girl who'd once hurled herself at that love like a moth to flame, I didn't feel aggrieved. A golden catch like Julian probably required endless tolerance, especially from the doormat doing the chasing. But nothing dictates that after all the tears I can't walk away. Julian cried on the hospital bed. I'd almost never seen him cry. He was more like a precision instrument, one that rarely registered real emotion of its own. I blotted the tears away, and he gripped my hand so tightly he wouldn't let go. Sarah, I know I was wrong, really wrong. When you stopped calling, it felt like someone had hollowed out my chest. No matter what I do, I can't fill the hole. Even now, Julian still framed everything from his own vantage point. He didn't know my pain, couldn't feel what the old me had felt. So I pulled my hand back. Julian, you'll get used to this sooner or later. In the end, whether we're together or not barely changes a thing. With that, I walked out. Briar was nowhere in sight outside the door. I wasn't worried about who would look after Julian. The Sterling Empire would make sure he had the best of everything. I needed to worry about myself. After I left, Julian finally went quiet. I was sure he'd soon bury himself in work like some fictional CEO, then find the right zip code girl to spend the rest of his life with. As for me, I slid back into single life and focused on my paralegal's grind. What I never expected was Julian moving in across the hall. When he knocked, playing the friendly neighbor, I was genuinely startled. Sarah, I'm out of salt, could I borrow some? Such a lame excuse from a guy who'd never lifted a finger in a kitchen. Julian actually cooking? I didn't answer, I simply shut the door. There's a bodega 2 blocks down, why knock on me for groceries? I wasn't giving him anything. Who wants an ex popping up every single day? But Julian acted like he couldn't read the signals, knocking again and again, either to borrow something or to drop something off. I stayed late at the office every night just to avoid running into him in the hallway. Somehow it was like he'd installed a radar on me. Every time I came home, his door swung open at the perfect moment. He'd smile as if to welcome me back, trade a few pleasantries, then let me pass. I finally understood the saying, you can't wake someone pretending to be asleep. After a while, I'd throw him a line or two. Most days, though, I ignored him. Julian wanted to re-court me the way I once courted him, only it felt too late. Because nothing he did set my heart racing anymore. The night he showed up with a saucepan, asking for spices again, I finally let him inside. The delight in his eyes looked real. Sarah, I knew you still cared. I pointed him toward the kitchen to cook his own meal. A few minutes later, the faint scent of something scorched drifted out. He emerged, embarrassed, saucepan in hand, smiling sheepishly. I'll practice, Sarah. I'll learn to cook for you. It reminded me of our senior year when I'd boil noodles for him at all hours. He'd loved my broths and pastas, It had taken one tweak after another to perfect the flavors he adored. I sighed. Julian, don't. I'm telling you one last time tonight, you don't need to win me back with grand gestures. I simply don't love you anymore. I like my life single more than I ever liked it with you. His face crumpled again. Voice shaking, he said, even if I fix everything? Sarah, because of one diamond necklace you're ready to erase us? How is that fair? I almost laughed. Fair? Julian, your entire life is built on unfair advantages. We were never going to last, and your friends never planned on respecting me, did they? Whatever you do, I won't change my mind. He didn't reply, just carried the saucepan out, and I exhaled. He clearly still didn't get it. But it didn't matter, I was leaving soon. A practice group shuffle let me transfer to our Eastbridge office. In a week I'd be gone. After that, the corridor opposite mine stayed silent. Julian seemed flattened. I considered it progress. Still, Julian's bag of tricks never emptied. All the guys who used to flank him, his old fraternity circle, started texting apologies, one after another. Even Breyer came knocking to say sorry. I figured their apologies were long overdue. I accepted the words, but forgiveness wasn't in me. We orbited separate social galaxies now, unlikely to cross paths again. A week later, I boarded the train for Eastbridge. I'd just settled into my new caseload when I spotted him downstairs from my rental. He looked thinner, shoulders sharper under his coat, eyes dimmed. He flinched when he saw me. I walked up first. Julian, long time no see. What brings you here? I already knew, he'd followed me. He shuffled his feet. Sarah, I'm not barging into your life. I respect it. I just want to see you, even from a distance. That left me little to say. Julian, I meant what I told you, you'll get through this, it's just going to take time. I hope the rest of your life treats you well. I meant every word, because mine already did. If you enjoyed today's story, score it from 1 to 10 in the comments. Like and share if it moved you, we love reading your thoughts. Subscribe for more episodes, see you next time.